Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting
DDs.
Ha
Hi everybody. How are you all doing today? This is BA Bad One, and on this video, I am going to show you a game I played in Daring. I used Grotmaz Smart as her commander, with William Sims and Eric Bay's inspirations, in order to make a DD hunting gunboat. All gunboats can use the extra health to help survive the damage they will receive, and the extra concealment allows you to get closer to enemies before being detected. As you can see, this will be a target-rich environment, and starting in the middle means we can start asserting our dominance early, as that cap is usually avoided. Daring is a great cap contester as she can pop short-duration smokes and has a 3.5 km sonar, allowing to detection while concealed. Her fast-firing guns are a great tool to deal with enemy DDS from stock. That is why I used the Torp reload system modernization, as the torpedo launchers require more attention for a faster reload. Other modernizations include aiming systems, steering gears, and obviously, concealment system. I have Grotmaz Smart as her commander because of Bernie Daka, his unique trait that increases up to 2% the chance of a fire being caused by destroyers' HE shells. 15% of the destroyer's main gun HE shell damage, but also 6% of incoming damage to your destroyer. This skill greatly surpasses Grotmaz's kinda useless base trait, that improves damage when ramming, and Vian's base trait, for incoming enemy fire dispersion. Along with smoke on the water, that would be his best choice, instead of the Bernie Daka. When playing a DD, in general, one must always take caution approaching a capture point, as zoning torpedoes may already be in the water, along with any enemy DDs lurking by. Capturing the bases is one of the primary jobs for DDs, as the amount of points is a determining win factor when time runs out, and can decide the match strategy on the endgame. Daring, like most British destroyers, has a 3-minute-long sonar, with 3.5 kilometers. That helps greatly in these situations. I ended up almost taking a torpedo for not using it, but I was saving them for confrontations, due to the amount of destroyers in this match. I think there should be a limit on the number of same-class ships in a match. 3 would be ideal, but for matchmaking purposes, I guess 4 would be the most preferable one. We all have had that ridiculous amount of destroyers game, where one of the teams gets completely crippled for losing a lot of ships from the most influential class of the game. And the match ends in 7 minutes or so. Anyway, one of the reasons Daring is such a Chad destroyer hunter, is because he has 2 of his turrets on the front, which is great for chasing enemies. Also, her turrets rotate 360 degrees, so you are able to have your guns pointed at a specific enemy most of the time, while you turn and move your ship. Her main problem is, however, the lack of speed and a speed boost. Her guns fire pretty fast already, and I thought the reload mod would not be as useful as being able to shoot torpedoes more frequently, which can come in very handy when pushed by a battleship. While having a hunter build, the range modernization also has limited use. It can help with the dispersion, but you will rarely be making use of the improved range. Now, onto the trait configuration. I usually view the destroyer commanders as 2 types, for close and long range. The close range type is the one with observant rage, mortar, and twist and track, as those are the best skills to look for enemies and kill them. However, as I mentioned before, a case could be made to use look at me now instead of mortar to make better use of the concealment, to get closer to enemies. Cloudy days over smoke on the water is debatable, as one needs to be on the move to hunt, but also being able to make a longer use of the guns when fighting battleships or cruisers, without being detected. The particular case of unstoppable over Leviathan is debatable in the same form as one needs to have the engine running in order to flee if necessary, when the smoke does not help, as the extra HP and rudder can be very useful in close quarters engagements. All destroyer dedicated commanders got perceptive over the course of the game, and in most cases, that ended up being a better option than Tweeze and Track, as it also showed the direction of the nearest enemy, but provided a reduction to damage received and helped spot torpedoes. Russian destroyers are still better off with Twist and Track, because of their low turret traverse. Here, as you can see, is the time where I activated the sonar, as an enemy destroyer is in a smoke cloud and I can approach him without being detected. This way, I can spot him for our whole team and he cannot detect me. This is where British cruisers excel. For ships like the Carsax and Ship Smasher, that don't have a sonar, I use the target acquisition system for a smaller radius, of 3 kilometers, but permanent effect. Of course, this causes hit on your concealment. And here comes the part for British short-duration smoke screens utility. After you have disposed of the enemy destroyer, or in case you need to flee the scene, you can easily drop visual spotting on you. While that smoke screen lasts, make your way to shoot whatever enemy targets may be visible to you, thanks to your team mast spotting or in case any enemy ship dares to enter your sonar range. When that is a battleship, it is a great opportunity to use the British single-firing torpedoes, as you can make sure most of them hit it, at such short distances. But going back to the commanders, not all nations have the 3 types of commanders, or at least the 2 types of gunboat commanders, so the third trait in the third row varies a little bit. In the nations that have both types, their close gunboat commanders have 1,000 cuts. That boosts main battery and secondary battery reloads. All the other nations' commanders have ratcheting out, that boosts main battery range and now, the reload too. This can be very useful for a full DPM build, with mortar and serve as that nation's long-range commander. The British, however, are one of those nations that don't have the close quarters commander, therefore, one must make the best with the long-range one. This is the reason why premium commanders have been so helpful. You can have an extra commander to set differently, and it's about time the other nations without one also had him. In the meantime, you can see an example of bad positioning as we have 3 destroyers all clumped up in the same capture point. Having that as a main objective, at least one of these teammates should definitely go to Alpha to cap, or at least, provide spotting in that area, one of the other destroyer objectives. I will be taking care of the other one, which is to counter enemy destroyers. Games would work a lot better and be more fun if everyone did their jobs. I have no idea what this Shimakaze did to be spotted so far from the battleship, but even if he didn't, my closest enemy indicator, which I get from Perceptive, would let me know his position, just like it will for the other Shimakaze. Next. Since the alternative to Groma's Smart's unique trait is Sidestep, which boosts main battery range and incoming fire dispersion, but increasing rudder shift time, I thought that would make a nice combination with Vian's base trait to increase incoming fire dispersion, and left him as the long-range commander. Usually, the idea of those types of commanders is to set everything on fire from long ranges, while moving at high speed, using islands to break detection. These commanders have the skills Quick Fix, Flank Speed, Glass Cannon, Sidestep and Rather Be Torching, to improve speed, range, accuracy and fire chance, at the cost mainly of the rudder. To this ship's, concealment is not a focus, so their builds would work with the rudder mod instead, unless you want to focus on enemy fire dispersion. If you don't, then you could also use the propulsion mod instead in mod slot 2. The range mod would also be the one to use in slot 4 whenever possible. In case one does decide to work on the reload of the main guns, these commanders have the trait Stand or Fall to improve it, that you can use instead of Glass Cannon. This type of gameplay destroyers have a higher skill ceiling, as one has to be more careful on approaching capture points, and the only way to counter enemy destroyers is to bait them into shooting, so you can shoot them back, once they get spotted. By now, this match is pretty much decided already, which is what usually happens in high destroyer population matches. Once one of the teams loses half their destroyer force, there is not much the remaining ones can do to counter the other team's superior numbers, and eventually, without spotting, the already overrun team gets taken out one by one. The max amount of points is reached pretty fast, depending on how unbalanced the game was in regards to the other ship classes. You can see here, once again, how easily Daring can have all guns on a target, not having to turn too much. Also, the Shimakaze can run, but she can't hide, as our sonar is just about to finish reloading and is ready to go again, warning us of any torpedoes that may be sent our way, as well as detecting the ship herself, in case she decided to stay in the smoke. I hope you have been finding all the information I am providing very useful and liking it. If so, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to ring the bell, so you don't miss out on any new video I may post. I would also like to have your feedback, suggestions, and comments to the dedicated area below. Be sure that I will answer them all. I would also appreciate it if you could do me a big favor of sharing this video with your friends and family or teammates to help grow the channel. They don't even have to get notifications from the channel if they are not interested. Well, all that's left of this match is to finish up the stragglers. Usually, having 2 caps and a fair amount of points led is more than enough to guarantee the win, but when that is not the case, it may be safer to be more conservative and win better instead of harder. This is, after all, a patience and strategy game, so one must consider what may be the best option to secure win and avoid this from becoming a game of throws we get to see sometimes, unfortunately. You may notice a few bits of the video cut. Apparently one cannot press the PS button while playing to go do other things, as it seems to pause the video recording. Take that into consideration in case you also do some recordings of your own. I first noticed it in the Graz Zeppelin video I made not too long ago. Anyway, to talk a little bit more about commanders, you could use torpedo-type destroyer commanders or the general one for a gunboat, but of course, it will be a bit lacking. Most of the torpedo commander's skills have a negative effect on the guns, so you may as well just use the general commander's skills. The only advantages are that you can get perceptive or give me speed. With the general commanders, you have, however, the advantage of mixing some cruiser perks and be able to be a bit more aggressive with more chances to set fires and improve speed and rudder. The lack of closest enemy indicator, however, makes it a bit harder to hunt anything. The general commander can fit the long-range gunboat commander's shoes the best. The British destroyers are very versatile and you can use them in any way. They can adapt to all 3 types of gameplay and you can use the one you like the most. Not having a dedicated close-range commander can be a bit limiting, but Grotmaz Smart's unique skill Bernie Darker can help a little bit with that by improving HE shell's damage and fire chance. So, again, even if this Shimakaze gets spotted, it's highly unlikely that we get the kill. I have tried in so many games to tell people not to shoot with get back and negative without effect, that I have just given up on trying to do it, at least until WG comes up with a ceasefire command or something. All that we have left to hunt is the Kraken, but I fear that we do not have enough time to do it, as we are close to the 1000 points limit. When it comes to this point in a match, it looks like Piranha's attacking something that fell in the water. This would be a good time to have the long-range build, as that one has more accuracy, and would be very beneficial to actually get some good hits. The other main contenders for best legendary tier gunboats can all easily succumb to the sonar and smoke combination, so use that to your favor whenever you need to face other gunboat ships. Beware, however, that Z-46 has a longer range sonar and Jutland is almost a daring too. Those two are your main opponents in one-on-one fights. As for the remaining destroyers you may come up against, you have every tool you may need to beat them. This is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can see that we did not do a huge amount of damage, but getting some caps and taking out a good percentage of health from destroyers is enough for a good game. Thank you for watching, good games, and goodbye.
Our team depends upon you.
Much obliged, Commander.
That's how it's done. Nice work. Good game, everyone.
Bye, have a great time.